Alrighty, let's turn the music down. Yeah. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, here we go. Round of applause, round of applause. Welcome to the stream, guys. Again, another update. Camera up. Here we go. Quick update. As you know, Guardian Inbox is the latest project, and this particular project was spun within 42 minutes, actually, exactly 42 minutes. I was able to spin the project. However, as it is, when it comes to vibe coding, when it comes to AI assisted coding, you end up getting yourself in a situation sometimes you have to take a couple of steps back and think things through. And that's what ended up happening because I was about 90% done on the extension for Chrome and Firefox. As I mentioned multiple times, now to develop the extension for Safari is a whole different ball game because Apple doesn't do anything the conventional way. You gotta jump through a lot of different hoops just to get a simple extension for Safari done. Anywho, I ended up, 90% progress. Then I had to take a step back and basically trash the whole thing because there were so many errors. We were caught in an error loop that was literally unfixable. So instead of spending another day trying to fix it, so I just decided to trash the whole thing. Even though I had backups on top of backups, but I decided yesterday, all right, let's just trash the whole thing and start over. So that's basically what I did. And I'm kind of glad I did that and I should have done it earlier, but then again, this is part of the process and I realized the more I vibe code or use AI assisted uh, coding methods, I realize nothing is a waste of time, really, because you end up gaining a lot of insights when it comes to certain workflow or certain, you may just go down a rabbit hole because it might be an ego thing as well. Well, I need to fix this or I can't do it. I can't fix it. But then you find yourself chasing your own tail because once you get into a an error loop, it's almost impossible to get out of, and it's almost like flying when you get into a nosedive and your aircraft stalls. When you reach a certain velocity, when you reach terminal velocity in a certain angle, it's almost impossible to recoup, and therefore your aircraft might bank too far to the left or to the right, and then you get into a belly up situation, which is fatal. Then you may n- almost 99.9% never recover. Anyway, I digress. So I ended up doing the unthinkable. So you know what? Let me trash the project. Well, not really the project. Let me trash the extension development and start from a reasonable point, from scratch, really. And this is where we are today. So we ended up, if you're watching the screen right now, so this is what we ended up with. Pretty much what we had earlier, but there are a few changes, which now we've got a broken link for the logo. The logo wasn't here before. So the logo is going to be, I'm thinking, put it top center where it says Guardian Inbox will be in. The title will now become a subtitle under the logo, quite a bit smaller, maybe H3, maybe even H4. smaller logo, right? Title, then the spam block count is going to be here instead of it used to be on the right side where the Guardian inbox title is now. So I think this is more. I think the UX is much better. I would have loved to have it bigger, but I think this is enough. And here, of course, we still end up with the filter tab, right? Filters where you could, at a glance, where you don't need to navigate to the dashboard to do this. You could just register whitelist. You could create your own whitelist of emails or domains here, or blacklist, and you could report spam directly from the main pop-up window. And here, of course, this this works. So once you say connect to Gmail, it'll bring up the modal to authorize access to your email account. So you could start monitoring. And same for Outlook. Of course, we're going to have more options here, as such as Microsoft 365, Yahoo, Hotmail, custom domains, etc., etc. And of course, here in settings, we do have email quarantine, automatic deletion. So you could quarantine on and off. So if you want to turn everything off, you could do it right here. So you don't need to navigate to the dashboard to handle that. So which is pretty handy, and that's a what you're seeing here on the pop-up for the this is the Chrome extension. This is pretty much easy access. Now, if you want to go granular as a either as an enterprise user or as a just a consumer, just a regular consumer, you can then access the dashboard here. This is the main dashboard where you'll be able to just go more granular and to get more information about, you got your main dashboard where here you'll see the just the regular report stuff with these stats cards. We have spam blocked the next for the last for 24 hours. That's the daily, right? That's the weekly, and of course global block list domains will have the tabulation here as well. Okay. Detection accuracy, because everything's going to be driven by AI, as it should, because we're in the age of AI after all. And of course, email protection. Here we have all sorts of stats and recent protection events. Active protection features. Okay, what we're talking about, anti-spam, AI spam detection, right? Phishing protection, malware scanning, link analysis, attachment scanning. This one's a good one. Okay, sender reputation. So, and also remember, the more you use the platform, the more it's going to learn about your preferences, and also the the list at large, the lists that are out there that basically give you access to spam databases where you will know this is definitely spam. And our AI or LLM will be trained specifically to interface with these links and to do an assessment or whether a particular email is spammy or phishing or some sort of attachment that may contain any sort of Trojan or malware. Okay, and here we have spam analytics. Same thing at a glance, you'll be able to see the detection ratio. The Again, we'll monitor not just the positives, we'll again the false positive. Okay, false positives, and that's the way to mitigate the fact that we might inadvertently flag somebody as spam, but it may not be the case. So that's very important, okay, to train the LLM as well. So average response time, because latency has to be super low, right? So total processed emails, boom, there you go. Okay, top spam categories that'll appear here because now we're not connected to the back end. So failed to load top scan categories. That's why this is here. All right. So spam detection trends. You'll have your daily breakdown and your monthly. Of course, we can expand this to yearly, but I think that'll be sufficient. Performance metrics. Okay. Uptime, average processing time, block list size, etc., etc. Okay, because you're getting an error here because we're not connected to the back end, although you can't even see that because it's obscured by the camera and the ticker. All right, great. So email queue, he will be able to see what's being processed. Okay, and again, you could basically just override the system and allow things manually. Okay, or block, depends. And here, next tab, what are we looking at? We're looking at the model management. So this is where the brains of the operation is going to reside. So we're going to train our own model for this particular use case. Okay, so now we'll train on accuracy. Okay, training data, of course, processing speed, and of course, model version. This is where we'll iterate and just update things, tweak things. So we have a far better, accurate model. The more we're going to use it, the better. Okay, model performance metrics, precision, recall, F1 score, and false positive ratio. This has to be as low as possible, possibly below 1. Okay, 0.9, 0.7, etc., etc. So there we go. And here we got training history and the versions. All right. And let's proceed to block list management. All right. Alrighty. So here we are, block list management. So here we can manage our block list. Okay, as you can see, we have you'll have the domain where the list is was originated, the reason why, whether it's phishing, whether it's bulk spam, malware, scam, or phishing, right? And here, of course, we have options to go manual detection, AI detection, or from global lists. And the global lists become important because now we can interface with this list to have a database of known phishing, spam, malware, and scam uh, lists. So this will all be here. Of course, we'll have more than this, but for the time being, for this particular use case, we have Spam House, Malware Domain List, Fish Tank, and SURBL. So these are the parameters for this particular section. So as you can see, we have the block list management, we have total blocked, and added today. So this is the daily ad. Okay, global sources. All right, effectiveness. Okay, again, we got to keep this number as high as possible. Of course, we can add, let's see if this pops up. I'm sure it will. We can add a domain manually, okay, which is pretty cool. So if you're receiving spam or phishing from any sort of any domain, you could manually enter them here. And remember, this is a crowdsourcing environment. So if you add anything, that could be vetted. That could be basically, you won't be the only one in this case. If you flag something and you're the only person who flags a domain, it will not automatically block that domain for everybody else. But if there's, let's say we set a threshold for 10 flags or 50 flags, whatever we deem necessary, then once you flag something, and everybody who uses our system, okay, Guardian Inbox, they all inherit the flag, which is super dope, super crazy. Alrighty, so threats. This is the threats tab, okay, threats detected. It'll give you a weekly, all right, threat detection. How many were blocked this week? How many were quarantined? Because you can actually opt to quarantine threats as opposed to blanket block or delete everything. That way, if anybody falls under the false positive detection, then you can go back and revert the flag and mark it as safe. Makes sense? Correct, correct. So then we have activity log. Okay, of course, it's self explanatory. So total action this week, the user action, of course, emails processed, and threats blocked. So you get an overview as to how effective is the system. What's the what are the false positive rates? What's the rate of success? What's the success rate? So all this, you'll be able to track everything here. And of course, user management, where as a SaaS, you can buy seats for your organization, where each email address will have sort of like their own dashboard. This is the master dashboard. So as a SaaS, you probably would have access to some of these features that are pertinent to what service level you want to access. But also, if you want a turnkey solution where we install this, we black box this for you, or we install it on your server for you, then you're able to have the full backend where you'll be able to create users, with different role and permissions and access. So this is what this is all about. So you'll be able to total users, of course, as the super admin, you'll be able to see how many users that you have signed on to the platform, how many admins, active users currently, and of course you could see the number of users who have been suspended as well. So here we are. So of course we can add more roles here. Right now is this user and admin, but that could be expanded depending on the use case. Then we have reports. Reports, of course, total emails blocked, total deleted, okay, false positives, exported reports. And in here you can generate reports for a date range. So now you have from, to here. There you go. And these are the buttons here to allow you easy download to whatever's available here. Okay, so you could, for quick access, quick download, you want to generate a download for this particular day or for that day or for that day. Well, you could do that right here. Instead of setting up a date range, you could do individual days right here. Okay, and let's go down to settings. Settings now give you access. Well, now the styling is all over the place, so I need to actually change that. You got notification settings, okay? Email alerts, push notification, daily spam report email, and then we got the security settings, right? Automatic spam deletion. You could turn that on or off. Okay. And so you could set up a delay here. Okay. How long to keep deleted spam before deletion, before permanent deletion? You could keep it for 24 hours or whatever you please. That's accessible here. Real time protection, of course, on or off, but I'm sure you always you want that on. Advanced threat detection, of course, and quarantine suspicion emails, that's also an option. So if you're not sure, you don't want to delete things right away, so you could opt to quarantine that email. And there you go. And you can manually report spam as well through this button right here, which is what you'll find here on the pop-up, okay? On the extension pop-up right here, report spam. And of course, we have the account holder setting, who the account holder who's logged in at the moment, and the information will appear here. And you could do that. You could something. There you go. This is supposed to be closer to it. So change password. That's supposed to be somewhere here. Change password. Current password, new password, and confirm password. Right. And we got the whitelist or blacklist, so you can add everything from here. This section this is what you see here. This is what we see, the whitelist and blacklist. So instead of digging through the back end, through the dashboard, you have easy access right here on the extension. So whitelist, blacklist. Of course, here you can add email accounts, right? So you could add your email account, or if you have multiple accounts, so you want to unlink one email address and you link another email address, so you could do that here. Okay, and we have a hook here to do things like, okay, connect to your Gmail account or Outlook or Yahoo or all three. Okay, so in essence, what's happened, this right here, this is what gives you easy access to accounts right here. This is the section. So once you click on that, the modal will pop up for authorization. So once you authorize, then we have access to your email address. Also, remember, we don't read your emails. We're the intermediary. We sit between the sender and your inbox. Okay. We got who do we have here? Big task at hand. What's going on, brother? How's the vibe? Hey, the vibe is excellent, man. But hang on a second. I got to give you your salute as you come into the stream. And I know you dropped a like. And here we go. Don DeMarco, baby. And then a round of applause for Big Task at Hand. The vibe is alive and well. I was just going through a walkthrough of the latest project, which is going pretty well. I had to kind of take a couple of steps back to rework the extension. This is the Chrome extension. Of course, the Safari extension is coming up. And yeah, man. Yeah. Salute, brother. Big task at hand. So we got this working right now. The CSS had a little bit of an issue, but we worked it out. Now I'm kind of gonna rework the header for here. The logo is gonna be on top center. Guardian inbox is gonna be reduced to a probably H3, H4, smaller text size under the logo, and then the rest remains the same. So this right here, the linked providers, this is what you're going to be seeing represented here. And again, this is dynamic. The more linked providers you have here, it'll be reflected here as well on the extension. So that's pretty much what we got. And what else? So right, so this right here, change password, is going to be somewhere here. I gotta restyle the dashboard. This is all over the place. and of course analytics. So you can, of course, in all transparency, especially to be compliant, you got to comply with GDPR and other compliance bodies where they people have to opt in. So if you want to share your data, right here, you see that? I don't know if you guys could see my cursor, unless I'm not catching my cursor. Yeah, it's being reflected. So right here, analytics, share anonymous analytics data. You can opt in or opt out. Some people might not want to share their analytics data, so you can opt in or not. So this will allow us to train our LLM to do a better job, more accurate detection, more accurate deletion or flagging, or it could be, it's going to allow us to reduce the latency as well. So the response time when between when a sender sends an email, it hits our server and it lands in your inbox. We have to reduce that time, to milliseconds. You know what I mean? So we need to be able to train the LLM to do all these things. So that's also an option. So you can opt in or out. So which is right here. And of course, we have payment information because this is going to be behind a paywall, whether it's for our own deployment as a SaaS or if an organization decide to purchase it outright, but then this becomes redundant because then that doesn't, you can always disable that. It's not really an option anymore. But if it's for a SaaS service, you can still collect payment through the payment information right here. And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our tour. Okay. So if you all have any questions pertaining to the project, Guardian Inbox, and with the companion extension, right now I'm working on the extension for uh, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. I've got Chrome working flawlessly, so now I need to focus on Firefox, and I'm going to attack Safari last because just a simple extension, Safari, you got to jump through so many hoops because it's Apple. Apple doesn't do anything like it, and like everybody else. So that means I got to fire up Xcode and I got to do a bunch of things, and of course, just licenses and stuff. So it is what it is. If I want to have a huge user base, I have to cater to the Gecko architecture. I mean, that's Firefox, and to the Chromium, architecture. That means Chrome, Opera, and all these other amazing browsers, and of course Safari. So that being said, guys, this is the overview. If you have any questions, don't forget the chat is right here. So hit me up in the chat. Also, the Discord voice channel is wide open. So if you want to come in and talk to your guy, drop in and let's have a little conversation about vibe coding, building your SaaS, marketing, whatever, AI, music, whatever floats your boat. Let's go. Let's have a conversation. The Discord voice channel is wide open, so come on and talk to your guy. And in the meantime, if you're new to the channel, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. We're on track to gain 500 subscribers so we can start doing a little bit more on the channel. And of course, drop a like as you come into the stream because the more likes we have, the more the algorithm is going to push us to more viewers and more attraction. Therefore, I can get motivated to create more content for you guys and then to share my journey building my startup. So, guys, do your boy a favor, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter. TikTok is up. Okay, it's all at Indio AI. So Twitter is up. TikTok. We're not. What else is there? And YouTube. The rest of the channels, we're not really going to focus on them for now. So drop in, say hi. Discord is wide open. Join the Discord server and all that. And meanwhile, let's continue with the build. So if you have any questions, let me know. Let's go.